I'm James. I am 27 years old and I'm from the US. Lived there for most of my life, and then now I'm currently living in Albania.
My name is Martin. I'm 28. I'm from Bulgaria and I'm currently living in Germany, and to be more exact, Nuremberg.
My name's Cameron. I'm 24, from Brighton in England, and now living in Valencia, Spain.
And this is the Expat Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Expat Show, ladies and gentlemen, after a 1-week hiatus where winter certainly has hit hard here, as we are unfortunately missing our co-host Martin. He is sick with a virus, as he was last week as well. But I am joined today with James. How are you today, James?
I'm doing about the same as always. A little bit cold in my house, but not too bad. Just gotta keep my hood up and wrap myself in a blanket, and I'm good.
Very good, very good. It's definitely getting chilly here in Spain. In parts of Spain today, we had like snowfall, but that was more in the north. But yeah, it's definitely becoming winter. But
yeah, I think we had snow up on the mountain right by the lake here, but like only at the very top. Like it's been raining for the last few days, and so I think a little bit of that became snow up at the top.
Thankfully, we are not experiencing floods like in Venice at the moment. So if any Italians are listening, hearts go out to you, and the floods there in Venice, hopefully they all get resolved soon. But yes, today we will be talking about the types of expat, like the different type of people that we've met, and maybe generalizing them into groups of you're this type and that type. But no, I'm joking. We're just different sort of expats that you might bump into on your travels. So,
or maybe you're a listener and you don't relate to us in how we are living our expat life, but you have a different story. So, for instance, I met a great couple, I don't remember how long ago now, a month ago, 2 months ago, that found my YouTube channel and messaged me through Facebook, and I think they referred to themselves as serial expats. They left the U.S. I forget how long ago, but they left the U.S., packed their bags, and haven't really lived there since then. They went to Mexico. They've been all over the place. They're living in Bulgaria or something, but they don't really stick to one place the whole time because they can work remotely. Yeah. And so they kind of hop around to different places. And last I heard, I think they were headed to Bali for the winter time, because they didn't want to be in Bulgaria during the winter. They wanted to warm up a bit. No, I cannot blame them. I would love to go to Bali for 3 months.
Oh, that would be nice. But I wouldn't really call those sort of people like expats, though, if they're constantly moving. But I do like the term serial expat.
Well, but if you think about it, it is an expat. Well, okay, I guess it just depends on what our definition of expat was. Because if you're living in a country that's not your native country, then you're an expat. And in theory, they aren't living in the U.S., or not in theory, in reality, they aren't living in the U.S., and they have been living in countries that aren't their home country since they left.
But if they're planning already, like when they get there, if they're planning to, like, I'm not going to be here, maybe it's just an extended vacation. That's how I would see it.
I guess, but I feel like an extended vacation is just when you plan to have, you are planning when you're going to go home.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Well, okay, so we did draw the distinction between immigrants and expats, where immigrants are someone who like have moved to a new country and plan to stay there indefinitely. And an expat is someone, at least maybe we didn't talk about this, but in my mind, an expat is someone who like thinks, okay, I'll live here for a certain amount of time and maybe I'll go back to my home country at some point. Yes, and that's why in my mind I'm still an expat, because I can't say for certain that I want to live in Albania for the rest of my life. I also can't say for certain that I wouldn't, and so it's like that's why I still consider myself an expat rather than an immigrant. Yeah. But these people that are jumping from country to country, I wouldn't say are immigrants by any means, because they're not staying in one place. They also refer to themselves as slow travelers. So I can understand that as well. Yeah. Where they're working their way around the world. They're just taking their time and spending 6 months here, 3 months there, 5 months there. That sort of thing.
I think I would definitely agree more with the slow traveller term for that sort of person than a
serial expat.
Yeah.
I could understand that.
Yeah, if in my mind, like a serial expat would be someone that maybe goes somewhere, they decide to live in one country maybe for 5, 10 years, a more significant amount of time, a big chunk of their life, and then they go to somewhere else. That's what I would call
So not necessarily go back to their home country,
Yeah.
but like 5 to 10 years in each country at a time.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a bit,
I could see myself becoming that. Spend 5 to 10 years in Albania, really establishing myself, learning the language, that sort of stuff, and then moving on to another unknown country. That could be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to experience more of the world instead of just a few months here and there.
Right, and I prefer like the culture side of it and like really getting to know places rather than just like the quick flyby,
Yeah,
Because I could do a quick flyby on YouTube or Instagram. I don't need to actually be there.
Yeah, you'd just be like, oh, here I am, take a couple hundred pictures and then post them out after the next couple of months, make you think people that you are actually living there. But yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so one term that I had heard for expats before is the travelling spouse. I could relate to that one because I flew to Spain, ultimately for love, for my partner. And yeah, I think many people are the same. I've got a cousin that lives out in Norway. Hi, Kirsty, if you are listening. She initially, she didn't go out to find love, but she found love while she was there, and I think maybe that's a staple as to why she's decided to stay in Norway. Sorry
Yeah,
again,
I can
Kirst.
understand that. Can't relate, but I can understand.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's traveling spouse.
Yeah, it's like,
I've never really thought about that. So it's not really necessarily expatriate by choice. I mean, it is by choice, but like not like completely independent choice.
yeah, it's like, for me, like my girlfriend, she was either gonna move to Spain, I was gonna stay in the UK, and that probably would have been the end of that chapter, or it's like, okay, I'm moving to Spain, and I'll go with you, why not?
How long had you been dating before you decided to move to Spain with her?
More or less 3 years.
Oh, okay. Significant.
Yeah, so
I thought you were about to say 3 months, and I was like, seems a little bit...
we didn't quite go overseas after 3 months, but we did decide to move to the other end of the country and live in a static caravan cleaning toilets for 6 months, but that's another story.
Okay, but that's a story I want to hear when we're off the air, because that sounds fun. Maybe by myself, but whatever. Anyway, next time.
Next time, indeed. If you were to meet a person that you fell in love and they decided that they wanted to go and live somewhere else, would you follow them or would you stay? I suppose it's a difficult one to answer because if you don't have that person there, but hypothetically.
Are you asking me personally?
Yeah.
So I made a decision a while ago, years ago, that I would do whatever I could to not make decisions based off of what the girl I liked was doing.
Right.
So there have been times where I've considered going places because of the girl that was there or that was going there. And ultimately, none of those really worked out that way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have a lot of...
Like I ended up moving closer, and sometimes just because different things happen, but like I never went somewhere because of a girl. That being said, I would not be opposed to it. It's just there would have to be a certain amount of like you were together for 3 years. That to me, if I was with someone for 3 years and they were deciding to move somewhere else, I would much more seriously consider it. But it would have to be like I would have to know that it was a committed relationship and not just like, okay, we've been kind of talking for a month and you're gonna move to Greece. Do I want to go? Probably not. Have fun.
Yeah. Enjoy your life.
If we're still like connected, then I'll come visit you or something, and then we can decide from there. But it's just not. Yeah, for me, I would have to actually have like a. There has to be a pretty big commitment in the relationship for me to actually want to do that.
Okay, so
And a lot of that also is just I'm a very independent person, and so that is, no doubt part of it as well.
yeah, you sort of like to make your own decisions, not follow someone else's choices in their adventure.
Right, exactly.
On the flip side of that, I've had I work with someone that was like yourself from the States. They're now living out here in Spain, but he has a girlfriend out in the States. But they, instead of her following him over here, I'm not too sure why he has come over to Spain. Maybe we'll have him as a guest one day and we can find out. But they decided that they would have an open relationship together. So they're still going to have that commitment, but their understanding of each other's other needs in the world, and they're trying an open relationship kind of thing. So maybe that's one way to look at it.
I'm not sure I would be on board with that at all.
No, me neither personally. But
To each their own. I mean, but to me, I just doesn't seem like something I would want to have to deal with in my life.
Yeah, I suppose it's all about the circumstances of who that person is and what they truly do mean to you. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
This is an interesting topic, different kinds of expats, because the three of us, although Martin's not here, I would say that the three of us kind of moved we're expats for three different reasons. Mm-hmm. Where you moved, it seems like mostly because your girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And then Martin moved primarily because he wanted a better job somewhere else outside of Bulgaria, so he went to Germany. Mm-hmm. And I moved because I wanted to live in Albania.
Yeah, so you just decided to do it. So
I wanted to live in Albania, and so I found a way to make that work.
Yeah.
So I was very specific on where I wanted to live. Well, I kind of was and kind of wasn't. Like initially, I was specific about where I wanted to live, and then when I started looking, I guess in early 2018, when I started looking at different places to go, I wasn't as picky, but I was definitely like eyeing the Balkan region.
Yeah, that area, not too well known. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, but actually, Albania. I mean, I had applied for a job in Kosovo as well, and so I would have taken either one, honestly.
Do you regret not taking the other one? No.
No. I mean, I would have had fun at that one, but it was a teaching job, and I would much rather be making videos and taking photos for work than teaching social studies or whatever they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
It was that other job was going to be more just how do I get to how do I live somewhere outside of the U.S. It wasn't a job that
a career job. It was just
exactly. It was something that I probably would have been in for a couple years and then figured out a different avenue, but that would have been like a stepping stone out of the U.S.
Out of the country. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
exactly.
it was fine.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think some people, particularly the boss of my particular office at my work, he was I would like to say it like a destination expat. He's from the Netherlands, and he got the opportunity to start a new office anywhere he wanted in Europe. So he did a little bit of a road trip and really enjoyed Valencia and decided, this is where I'm going to live, this is where the office is going to be. And I think for him, that is like I forgot the phrase I called it, but it was back there, the career expat. Like he's there
the
for
career
the
expat.
career. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be similar to Martin, it seems like, because I think he chose Germany specifically.
Yeah, mostly for the automotive industry, I believe.
Yeah, but I would imagine that he would have taken a job of similar. It didn't have to be in Germany exactly, if it was in the Netherlands or somewhere that was going to be the equivalent of Germany, then he may have gone there. I mean, he talks about Spain and how much he likes Spain. So I would imagine if he had been able to get a similarly paying job in Spain, he might have done that there. But he definitely moved for work.
Yeah, yeah, because of the lack of in Bulgaria, for sure.
Right, right, definitely. And then there's also the expats that have finished their work, and they're on a retirement pension or something, and they're just trying to find the easiest places to spend that. And so I would imagine you'd find a lot of them in Southeast Asia, where it's very cheap to live and the weather's very nice. And so it's like you can go to Hawaii and everything's gonna be super expensive and everything's nice, or you go slightly out of your comfort zone to Southeast Asia, where you can get something that is just as nice or almost just as nice as in Hawaii, but for significantly cheaper, and then your pension will go further.
Yeah, yeah. Or if you're British, you just go to Benidorm, because it's it's like Blackpool but in the sun. That's how they call it.
Okay, yeah, that works.
If you ever go to Benidorm, it's literally like you're in an English holiday like park or something, because every restaurant is like English breakfast, bangers and mash, cup of tea, all of this stuff, and it's like, wow, yeah. It's that sort of place I wouldn't really want to go to, but
Makes people feel right at home.
oh yeah, it's like the English community there. But in the south, there are lots of people in like Malaga, places like that have retired specifically for the easier life. Like they've worked hard gaining money in the UK. They've come over to Spain in the south, where it's a little bit cheaper. Their money goes a longer way, and it's better weather. So why wouldn't they? I've met a few people that are expats for studies, to be in a specific country, either for like an internship or to go to a specific university to study a specific course that they want to do. Maybe that's...
Yeah, they're also... I would like to draw a distinction between a student expat and just someone studying abroad. Because while I kind of did it, but mine was more of a summer internship in South Africa for 3 months. But I know people who spent a semester in Paris or a semester in Barcelona or something. And they, to me, that, I guess technically that might be an expat, but like if you're going because of one particular course just for 3 or 4 months, that to me doesn't seem like an expat so much as like
just a student.
An exchange program,
Yeah.
For 4 years I could understand that being an expat, but if it's just like, oh well, I'm still getting credits for my university, I'm just going because I want to have this other experience, that to me seems different, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way to distinct it. It's like if it's just shorter or for a longer time as well. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some other types of expats that I may have met along the way. I've met a lot of people that say they've been everywhere, so they decided to stay here. They're like, oh, I've been there, didn't like it. Oh, I've been there, didn't like it. So they decided to stay here. Like maybe like a serial expat to beginning, but then they decided, oh, I'm done with that, and they're just gonna stick in one place.
I can understand going a lot of places and picking one because you like it more than the others. Right now, if money was no option and I could live anywhere I want, I would probably live in Hawaii, just because it was amazing, always nice weather, beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's only if money was no option, or no, not option, no.
Object.
Object. Thank you. Gosh, it's too late. I can't talk.
We are the tired expats. If you didn't know,
it's like 8 o'clock, and we're like, ugh, I just want to sleep.
In the evening, that is.
If money was no object, because I know for a fact that I would get bored of being in Hawaii all the time, and I would want to travel and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if money was no object, then I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
That being said, practically speaking, I love living in Europe, even though I'm in the Balkans. Like I'm going to Denmark in a couple weeks, and it's a 2-hour flight from the airport that's 40 minutes from my house. Like 2-hour direct flight to Sweden, and then a hour bus across the
to
bridge
Denmark.
to Denmark. You know, it's very quick, and Denmark is, you know, one of the further countries in Europe from me.
And it's still so close to you.
Right, exactly. And so it's really nice to be able to jump around so relatively easily, which is something that you can't do in Hawaii. And so I don't fully understand people that would go tons of places and then be like, oh, I didn't like it there, didn't like it there, didn't like it there. And so I decided to come here because, like, this is the best place I guess I could find.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, okay, what do I want based off of certain things, you know? Like, it's so difficult for me when people ask me what's my favorite country that I've been to, because I like different countries for different reasons, you know?
Every country has their own flavor, their own
Yeah,
personality.
and like, if I could spend, honestly, I would love, if I could spend like, a good chunk of time in, maybe not every country, but most countries, I would do that. I mean, right now, on my TV screensaver, a picture that I took in New Zealand just came up, and I was like, man, I would love to live in New Zealand for 5-10 years, you know, just really be able to experience that country more. I mean, I've been there twice. And once was like a 4-month road trip, but that's not the same as living there.
So
you know?
the 4 months, was that like going from the north to the south?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
a 1-month road trip,
1
a
month.
4-week road trip.
4 week. Okay.
Good
Yeah. It's more,
gracious.
I think going that far across the world, you sort of have to be there for 4 weeks or more. Otherwise, it's
Right.
why travel so far?
So yeah, the first time I went to New Zealand, I was there for 10 days, and I was only like in one small region. I was like, next time I come back, it's got to be longer. So we spent 4 weeks road tripping from Auckland down to the southern tip of the South Island, and then all the way back up to Auckland. It was fantastic.
Wow.
Had tons of fun. Spent about 3 to 3.5 weeks driving, and then other days were like spent in places, or like we stayed on a dairy farm in what was it called?
Yeah. It's like
Way in the south, and then stayed with some friends of mine up in Auckland, and it was just, I mean, it was fantastic. Anyway, all that to say, even a 4-week road trip through a country doesn't really give you the full experience of the country.
No. So you couldn't define yourself as an expat just being there for 4 weeks, for sure.
No.
So let's see. I do apologise for anyone that was watching the YouTube video. My batteries, I think, where it's cold, are having a bit of issues because my camera died. So I do apologise about that back at home there. But yes, any other types of expat that you could think of? Anyone that you've come across that makes you think, I haven't met too many people like that particular person?
Well, I think it just varies depending on how narrow not narrow, but how how particular your definition of expat is.
Yeah.
So I know people that I would think are expats but have lived in Albania all their life. They're just German passport holders. And so I guess technically they're more immigrants than they are expats because they've lived here, you know, but they could easily go back to Germany whenever they wanted. Then I know people that are here as volunteering with Peace Corps, which is a U.S. organization that sends volunteers around the world.
Right.
And they're here for 2 years, and they know when they come that they're here for 2 years. So I guess that could be an expat, but like in my mind, an expat doesn't know exactly how long they're going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? So like I think an expat, I don't think you know if you're an immigrant until like basically the end of your life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a certain time where you're like, okay, 50 I've been here for 50 years, like I'm clearly not an expat anymore.
Yeah,
like,
so this is me. This is who I am now. So.
Yeah, but if you're somewhere for like 2 years, I feel like, you know, you're definitely not an immigrant. But then if you're somewhere for 10 years, you're like, am I an immigrant, or did I just live somewhere else as an expat for 10 years? You know?
Yes, very something to ponder. What do you guys back at home think What was the definition of expat for you? I'd really like to know if you could let us know either on Facebook. You can find us, The Expat Show. Got an email, theexpatshow@mail.com. My personal inbox on Instagram is always open at Cam Clark Spain. And yourself, James?
Yeah, I mean, any social media is at James Lighthart, Leithart.
Very good. And yeah, we definitely do want to hear what you guys think. Maybe you're an expat. How would you define yourself as an expat? What sort of title would you give your particular expat? I just thought, actually, final thought for the day, the serial nomads, or I spoilt it for myself.
Well, there's the punchline.
God damn. The serial expats you were talking about earlier, surely we could call them digital nomads instead.
I'm not sure I would call them definitely nomads. I just don't know digital nomad. Like, to me, seems you have to be involved in tech. Even though I guess that's not true. I guess digital nomad just depends on what someone's definition of digital nomad is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, nomadic. They're definitely nomadic. I mean, they basically do long-term rentals in places. So they were showing me the apartment, the 2-bedroom apartment they got in Bulgaria at this nice ski resort, country club type thing. Nice. But they rented it for like, a few months, and then they'll probably go back there for a few months, or maybe they'll go somewhere else. But when they don't if they're not owning it, if they just do short-term rentals, it's really easy just to kind of jump around a bit,
Yeah.
And when they came through Albania, they really liked Albania, so maybe I can convince them to just post up somewhere in Albania.
And then, yeah, very good idea. Why not? So I also have a couple of friends at the moment. I'm in conversations at the moment to try and get him on as a guest. They're currently going across the southeastern coast of Mexico, but they're doing backpacking all across North and South Americas. So it could be quite an interesting.
So what would you consider that? Would you consider them expats, or would you just consider them travelers?
Well, they don't know when they're coming back. They don't know where they're going. So maybe it's more nomadic than expat.
Yeah. And then, okay, I met a guy this summer, Tom, oh gosh, I forget his last name. Tersic, something like that.
Right.
And his Instagram is at the World Walk, and basically he's spending 5+ years just walking around the world. And it's off and on, so he walked from New Jersey in the U.S. and then down through South America and then all the way down. Left his dog and most of his stuff, then flew to Antarctica, walked on Antarctica, then got his dog and then flew back to the U.S., I think, and then went to the European leg, flew to the U.K. and then got sick, ended up having to go back home for a bit.
Yeah, the UK will do that to you.
But right now he is just crossed into Georgia, just got through Turkey and crossed into Georgia, the country, not the state, for those Americans that don't realize that there's a country called Georgia. There is. But he just got into Georgia, and he was telling me, I'm working on what I'm going to plan, or I'm working on my plans for the future, when I get back to the U.S. I'm like, when's that going to be? 2.5 or 3 years, he said. I was like, all right, well, so you're about halfway through your walk. And he was like, yeah, pretty much. What would you consider that? Because he has a rough idea of how long he's going to be on the road. And his destination is just kind of to walk back to the U.S. basically. But
I would say that is more of a extended vacation slash.
I think he would argue that it's not a vacation, but
yeah, walking so far, but
it's a slow traveling.
Yeah, slow traveling. Yeah, for sure. I definitely wouldn't be an expat because it's definitely going from place to place to place to place.
Right, but I mean,
yeah,
that's fair. I guess that's fair. He spends more time in some countries than a lot of people I know. He spent, I don't remember how long it was, months in Turkey, just getting to the other side of Turkey. You know, it just took him.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't months. Maybe it was just a month. But
Yeah, I think where he's always traveling, he's not embracing the culture. So
I don't think I think part of expat is like settling down somewhere to a certain extent.
Experiencing the culture, like being a part of the culture.
Well,
maybe instead of an observer, you become a part of it.
I would hesitate to go there, because when you become a part of the culture, you could do that in just a month of being somewhere, you know?
You could experience it in a month, but to become a part of it and have it a part of you, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either. Interesting.
Let us know what you think. Did you ever watch those Where in the World is Matt videos?
I don't know who's Matt.